Chavrusa Daf.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ellie.
Where are we holding?
We are in the bottom of Chav Aleph, Amud Beis, Tashema. If you recall, we had a question. When a husband is mefer his wife's Naziris, does it work limafreya, or is it mikana l'haba? In the lashon of the Gemara, is it bal nekar okar? That's the retroactive. By Dilma Megaz Goyus, it is a cut from that point on. So we're going to try to answer that question. Tashema, ha'isha shenadra v'nazir v'hefrisha es behemta. Woman made, she said, Harini Nazir, and she already set aside the carbonates that she's going to need at the end of the term, which is Ayla and Shalom. And then her husband was made for her nether, or her Naziris. So, if the animals were his, it goes back to its non-sacred state. They could go graze the flock. There's no problem of hektish here. There, because so we'll see. This is the Mishnah. Okay, but we'll see what the reason is. But just for the pashut reason, you'd think it's because it's his animals. It was made for it, so it's as if it never happened. But the animals were hers. Hachatas tamas. Then the chatas has to be left to die because it had the kedusha. Once it has the kedusha, it can't, leave that state. And the article explains what's the difference, his, hers, right? Because in general,
It's kadesh. It's kadesh. What it says, it should also be left to die. So 14, since the animal was hers, if animal's consecration was effective, the animal was forbidden for private use. On the other hand, since she is no longer obligated for the father's offering, the animal cannot be offered as service. Therefore, it's left to die.
Targets for his. So his, in general, note 12, all that a woman acquires is considered the property of her husband. That being the case, it's not within her ability to consecrate animals for sacrifices. For a person not empowered to consecrate that which she does not own. So how did it work then? How does it work?
Yeah.
Although the law is that a husband is obligated to supply his wife with her sacrificial needs, so that the animals she takes for her sacrifice are considered her property, this pertains only to sacrifice that she must eventually offer. In the Mishnah's case, where her Naziris has been revoked, including ritual is no longer required, and in retrospect, therefore, the husband was never required to supply her with the animals. Accordingly, though she already designated the animals as sacrifices, her designation is now seen to have been ineffective, since it was directed at animals not considered her property. Consequently, the animals did not acquire any sanctity about the designation. Since it turned out that she doesn't have to bring these karbanas, then he never had an obligation to supply her with them, and therefore they have no kedusha once he's made for the net.
And in the case where she owns it, she also never had that.
We refer here to animals that were given to the wife on condition that the husband have no rights in them. So there are cases where she could have something that doesn't belong to him. Right? What was your question?
No, what's the difference between him and her? Meaning, you can explain her retroactively as well. Let me read note 12 for myself as well. In general, all that a woman acquires is considered the property of her husband. That being the case, it is not within her ability to consecrate animals for sacrifice. Or a person is not empowered to consecrate that which he does not own. So how did she do that? Although the law is that a husband is obligated to supply his wife with her sacrificial needs, so the animals she takes for her sacrifice are considered her property, this pertains only to sacrifices that she must eventually offer. In the Mishnah's case, whereas Naziris has been revoked, the concluding ritual is no longer required. In the Mishnah's case, where Naziris has been revoked, the concluding ritual is no longer required. In retrospect, the husband was never required to supply with animals. Accordingly, though she already designated the animals as sacrifices, her designation now think they've been ineffective since it was directed at animals not considered her property. So not only is her vow considered uprooted, but her declaration of everything.
Yeah, it's as if
also uprooted. Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, and that's if it's his. If it was hers, then obviously her intent at the time was to do this. So even though he takes away her Naziris, there's still going to be Kedusha in that animal. So we're going to explain, the Gemara is going to explain your reasoning as when it tries to bring a raya to whether it's make or akar or make his guys. So let's see. So what do you see from your piece? If you want to tell me that it works lemafreya, then tape a fool, and then even in the case where it belonged to the wife, the animal should go back to fool. And why do we say that it has to be left to die? Why do we say that it still retains its kedusha status? If it's lemafreya, then it never has. It's as if it never had kedusha status. Elalab, shmamino, balmegas guys. So what do you see? A raya from here. It only works mikano haba. So he's severing the fact that she's no longer Nazira, but it doesn't take away the fact that she already made these animals set for hektish.
You can ask the same. You can bring a raya the other way by looking at hers. The fact that he uprooted it, if it was her animal and he was made for it, it's effective retroactively. Oh, you have a raya there, lemafreya.
I mean, if it's hers,
if it's her animal and he's made for it,
they say that
animal's left to die.
Left to die.
Why? Because he can't be made for it. Mikano haba, it's lemafreya.
No, to make his guts. That's why it doesn't go back to fool.
Great. Okay. And if it's his,
well, if it's his, then.
Oh, sorry, I meant that. If it's his and it's uprooted, you see that it's retroactive because it's going back to the beginning.
Because it's going back to the beginning. I hear that.
I mean, yeah, you can explain it and say, no, it's his. It's different. He's uprooting it. But like, you can bring a ride the other way also, theoretically.
I hear. And maybe, I don't know, that's not the right answer. Well, let's see the Gemara's answer.
Okay.
No, I could tell you that still it works lemafreya. The reason why in this case it has to be left to die, given the late tzricha kapara, because she doesn't need now any kapara, because she's now not in a zero. But have it tefata shemesa heads, as it's like a case where someone sets aside the fatas and then they die. Uvmiri dechatas shemesu balatamas, and we learned the katas offering whose owners have left to die, who have died, is left to die. So really, I'll tell you that Nazir hafaras Naziris works limafre. If it works limafre, then why does her animal not go back to Chula, or why is it left to die? Because it's like any case of where an owner originally had an obligation but then died, so there's nothing to do here.
So we leave it to die as well.
Yeah.
Note 19, yeah.
Definitely. The Gemara now understands that the consecration of the animal by a wife who's Naziris is later revoked by her husband is not the same as a consecration by a person whose Naziris is subsequently annulled by a sage. Annulment by a sage is based on some error in the vow. Therefore, just as the vow is erroneous, so too the consecration is considered erroneous and invalid. Right, and therefore your animals go for it. But revocation of a woman's Naziris by her husband is not due to any error on her part. She wanted it. Accordingly, even though her vow is canceled retroactively, the consecration is not regarded as erroneous. At the time that she consecrated the animal, she was correct in thinking herself a Nazira. Right, she wanted that. Therefore, the animal is treated like a kaptas offering, whose owners have died and no longer need atonement, in which case the law is that the animal is allowed to die. So we don't have a raya, whether it's a mafreya or the kanal haba.
Even though her vow is cancelled retroactively, the consecration is not regarded as erroneous. The fact that it's not erroneous, the animal is treated like kaptas offering his owners have died and all have died. So it is retroactive, but she didn't do this in error, and because she didn't do this in error, we consider it to be lie.
Meaning the Naziris gets cut lamafraya.
Right.
But the karbanas were still set aside with the correct docs, right? That with those intentions. So even though it annuls her Naziris from the beginning, it doesn't change the animal side. Okay, well, so we'll try to bring another right. Tashima, Aisha, Shenadra, the Nazir, woman who said her in revere. Why is the Shaisa Yain Umatam Mesa? But then she goes and drinks wine, touches dead people. Harezu Seifegas Sarbaim. She gets the whip. Heifitan. So now what's the case? Elaine, but the like Heifar if it's a case where the Baal wasn't made for another. So any Yif and Mishnah say this? We already learned this, if you remember. It's Pasha, obviously. El Pshita, the Heifar Labah. So rather, the case must be he revoked her. Now, if it's Lama Freya, why is she getting it? It only severs it from here on out. But she did, in that interim,
Do something wrong.
And
that's why she likes the lashes. Good riot.
So obviously, I mean, if it just the timeline, right, was she said Harini to Zira, she drank the wine, touched the dead people, and then her husband was made for the nether. But then Bezin comes and still gives her the whip, right? Okay. So Ellie likes the raya.
I can really tell you that it was Lima Freya. When we showed it, and it was Lima Freya, and he did not revoke it. So why is she getting, what's the Mishnah coming to teach me? Right, if it's, wait a second. In fact, I can tell you that the revocation by the husband uproots the wife's vow altogether. The case of the Mishnah is one in which the husband did not revoke his wife's vow. Aha. Really,
what's it coming to tell
really a revocation.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Is Lema Freya. And here, he didn't uproot it. So if he didn't uproot it, she gets lashes, that's pashit. Why is it coming to teach me? Because what's happening in the Seifa, Hefer la Baila, if a husband revoked her vow for her, Vihila Yada, even though she did not know that he had done so, and she intentionally drinks wine or contracts tumor from the dead, she does not incur 40 lashes. So in that Seifa, in the Seifa, it does speak about.
It obviously has to tell you that in a Seifa Yisar about him.
Oh, that she does not incur the 40 lashes. So for Tani Namiresha,
she does get the lashes,
right? Even though we know that, right? Even though we know that, that's why.
He wasn't made for another. It's like that's like Pasha. Ask any 2-year-old. They know that someone who said Arena to Zira.
Probably more like 6, but yeah,
6. Okay, fine. Ask any 6-year-old. If you do it, there's this consequence.
You just take a look at the Seifa, because that's interesting. If her husband revoked her vow for her, even though she did not know and she drinks, she does not incur 40 lashes. That to me is a big chiddush. Just the Seifa by itself.
No, it seems like since when did he make for the Baal? When was he made for the nether? Before she drank or after?
I would say before.
So she makes the vow, then her husband is made for it right away, but she just didn't know, and then she drinks. So technically, what did she do wrong? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no, she did it like she did what she thought was an avera, and really it wasn't.
That's, by the way, that's Yisai. If you think that you're doing something wrong, do you get punished for that? What about
look at note 23? See Taisus, who explains why it was necessary to teach in the latter clause that she does not incur lashes, and as much as the nether had already been revoked at the time of her transgression. In quotes, transgression in quotes. I would think that if someone thinks they're doing an avera, maybe they do get punished for that. But she was like doing it b'mezid.
Yeah, but sorry. So you thought you did an avera? Sorry, you were, and so you can't get the lashes. Can only give it to people who react to the avera.
That's the chiddush. That's the finish of the Mishnah.
Okay.
You said, hey, maybe he was made for it afterwards. If he was made for it afterwards, then maybe we can bring a proof from that Mishnah.
Right. Okay.
Tashma, come learn from the following brisa. This brisa was said on Yud Testament Aleph. Ha'isha shenadra, right? Ha'isha shenadra ben Nazir v'nifmes. If a woman made a vow in Nazir and then contracted tumah from the dead and set aside her tumah offerings, and then her husband revoked her vow for Mevia Katas Oif, she brings the Katas bird, Vein Mevia Oif, does not bring the Ola bird. These Sakadad Bal Megas guys, never change your mind that it's from now on, Taiti Nami Oila Saif. She should also bring the Oila bird, right? Because she did bad while she was in the Zira. Mikanu Lahaba should make her bring both of them. Melamaya, what is the alternative? Me'akar. That husband roots his vows altogether. Then she shouldn't bring anything at all. So, you're bringing a raya one way. If it was the other way, then if it was that it's limafreya, if it's limafreya, then she shouldn't have to bring anything. What's this half chatzi situation? This chatzi shows that it's neither, right?
Well, yeah, I don't really get it.
Why? If the Brisa says that if someone makes a Naziris and then she contracts Tumah and then he's Mefer, the husband's Mefer, she brings one of the two. What does that mean, you bring one of the two?
Wait, so I'm not...
The Gemara says, okay, it's a raya that because if you want to say that if it's Oiker Limafreya, I'm sorry, that it's Mikana Lahaba, then she should also bring the Ola bird, because she did bad while she was in Nazir. So if she did bad while she was in Nazir, it's Mikana Lahaba.
I'm peeking ahead. Like, Gemara's not going to like the other... Well, Gemara's not going to make her up there either.
Right, but the Gemara
right now,
interim is saying, oh, you want to say that it's Mikana Lahaba.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work. You should be bringing all three.
All two. Oh yeah, three. I guess you have the Asham also. Right. But if you want to say that it's Limafreya, then she shouldn't bring the Chatas. Bless you. She shouldn't bring the Chatas.
Right. I make her Akar. The Chatas Namulate.
Right. So what are we doing with this Mishnah? Achanami, you're right. It is Limafreya. You are correct in stating that the women should not have to bring the Chatas bird. It is indeed the law according to other Tanaim. As to the Brisa's ruling that she is obligated to bring a Chatas offering, this may be explained as follows. V'hamani, who is the author of the Brisa? Rabbi Elazar HaKapar, he. It is Rabbi Elazar HaKapar. The Tanya for was taught in the following Brisa. Rabbi Elazar HaKapar, Berebi Oimer. Rabbi Elazar HaKapar Berebi says, Ma tamid lemer ma'asher chata ala nefesh. What is the meaning of the pasuk that says, for having sinned against the soul? Against which soul did the Nazir sin? Surely the verse means that because the Nazir deprived himself of wine, he is called a sinner, and it is not valid to propound the following Kal V'chemer argument.
And
is it not valid, thank you, to propound the following Kal V'chemer argument? If the person who deprived himself only of wine, then the one who deprived himself of all things, Alachas Kama B'Kama, who deprived himself of all things.
A person who takes Nadarim that they're not going to do this.
Okay. So this person who took upon himself is a chayta, right? When the pasuk says chata, it's referring to someone who deprived himself of one of Hashem's delicacies, and because of that, they now have to bring a chatas. But really, it's chayta lemafreya. So similar to before, how we said, you're right, the Naziris is uprooted, but still you activated some sort of kedusha to the animal. Here, same thing. Like you activated something that the Naziris
actually wasn't a Nazira, maybe you would say,
right?
But she still deprives herself from
right. Right.
Interesting. Okay. So you could. Okay, cool. So what did we say? So this is a raya that it's really Afreya?
Then we said no.
The reason why she has to bring...
No, it's not a riot. You could say that it's Lemafreya, but the reason why here is because it's according to Rabbi Elazar HaKapar, And he says that the chathos is for another reason. So there's nothing definitive from this brisa.
Just want to point out this. Remember we spoke about, is it a good thing to be a Nazir? Is it a bad thing? So listen, the Torah definitely calls a Nazir kadosh, something holy about it. But at the same time, you are doing something that Hashem wanted you to do. You're also called a chetem. So you're called a kadosh and a feite at the same time.
Interesting.
It is interesting. Okay.
Maybe that's why we don't find too many Naziris now, because it's not
a delicate balance.
Because it's not upon you to be an intentional sinner. I will lead to kedusha. We're not on that. We're not.
Well, then how is anyone ever a Nazir?
Same good.
I'm saying it's interesting. But okay.
Tashmat Tanya Behedya. Come learn what was taught explicitly in the following brisa. Ha'isha should not have been Nazir if a woman made a vow of Naziris. And another woman heard her and said, and I. And the husband of the first woman came and revoked it for her. The first woman is released, but the woman remains bound. Learn. Oh, I tried to pause it before the sneeze. It didn't work. So learn from this that the revocation by the husband merely severs the force of his wife's vow from that point on.
Because her friend is still asher.
Right. Because if it was Levafreya, then the husband, the second one wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. She would also be asher. She would also be released.
Why? He has no control over her. But he does because because the second one is contingent on the first, and he uprooted that. So,
right.
Levafreya, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a chain.
So
you have a raya that's a chain.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
Oh, sorry.
No, I think what do we come to? Would it come out again?
You don't know because it's only a case of 1 and 1. So it could be, it's from the first one. Mm-hmm. How we came out, if I had to guess, we probably did not come out. Because I'm noticing that a lot of these questions are not even answered.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Okay, Reb Shimon, what are the answers? Okay, Reb Shimon Aimer, that's Chavrusa Daf premium. You got the answers. Not, you have to be released. Reb Shimon Aimer, Im Amr Allah Hareini B'Kimay Secha. Okay, learn from this that the revocation by the husband merely severs the force of his wife from that. Okay, so right now, it's Mikan al-Haba. We brought a proof.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. The rest of this brisa, Reb Shimon Omer, Reb Shimon says, not to be confused with Shimon, who was part of the link chain of Shimon lady. Who did this? Is Rebbe Shimon. Im Amrullah Hareini Kamei Secha. If the other woman said to the first one, I am like you. Be like Mike. Mm-hmm. The other one said to the first one, the first one said, Hareini Nazira. And the second one said, Kamei Sech, I am like you. Shtein Mutarais. They are both released from their vows when the first woman's vow is revoked. So, this second woman, who by the way may not even be married, just FYI.
Oh, interesting.
If she's like you, then it's not and I,
right? Not
my own token of Nazirus.
She's indicating that the first woman's Nazirus is canceled, so is hers.
Right. I am like you. Shliach la'adam kimoisah. Kimoisoi, kimoiseh. Okay, so we see there, let's see why we're bringing this continuation of the brisa. Okay, fine, we're getting into, as we turn the page, Chaf Beis Amud Beis, we're just continuing the brisa just for the sake of talking about there, but we're not bringing it to upschlag our proof. Okay? So when you leave here, someone stops you in the street and says, it's the Zichru guy, right? The Zichru guy stops you in the street and says, hey, Binyomin, is it Mikano Lahaba? He talks in that interesting Zichru voice. Is it Mikano Lahaba? Or is it Lemafreya?
And Lahaba, because when the woman who drove her car, her cab, yeah, and the friend is also released from the vow.
He adds in some music. She's also released. No, the second one is not released.
Not released.
Right.
The second one is not released.
And that, so that's
true.
That's Mekana Lahaba. Yeah. he does do it camp. Are you on the chat with the thing?
Sure.
Is there a reason? Do you want me to forward them to you?
No, or add me to the chat.
I sent you a link at one
You
point.
did?
It's okay. Maybe you were a bit away.
It's possible. Okay.
I'll resend it to you. I just didn't know if you wanted to be part of it.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so let's see if in 2 minutes we can run through this. Marzurcha Brei Rav Mari Marzurcha, the son of Amari, said, Hi, Haini the Rabbi Bar Chama. This issue is the same as the one discussed by Rabbi Bar Chama. The by Rabbi Bar Chama asked, Harei like Kivsar Zevach Shlamim Mahu. If someone attempts to prohibit an item to himself by declaring it should be like the meat of a shlamim offering to me, what is the law? Ki maspis inish, when a person verbally links a permissible item with a shlamim, bikra maspis, does he refer to the initial prohibited state of shlamim? Or dilma bitsnana maspis, or does he refer to the ultimate post-prohibition state? This looks like a little bit of a piece. Okay. So, what we're going to do on our own today is you can do Chav Beis Amid Beis, get to the Mishnah, we'll start fresh from the Mishnah Rebbe.
You could feel free to continue recording yourself.
Oh,
get to the Mishnah. Yeah. That might help you. And
I do have a Yetzirah, so I'm not going to. But whatever, the end of Parshas Yisro says, the last pasuk after that, Sefer Dibros talks about not taking far strides to the carbon, up the ramp or whatever it is. Why do they wear like shorter skirts? And it's going to be revealing. So take slow strides. Rabbi Teddy told me, he said, you can ask, that's the pasuk right after the Torah, like that's the halacha, that's the mitzvah, the avera, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
What's shot, strides, this and that. He says, because when it comes to Torah, don't take big strides. Take small baby steps, small strides. So you're right, I could sit here and learn the next thing, but I came at 8:37. I just sat here for over a half hour.
Shem.
And, those are my baby strides.
Shem. There's a great daf. Shkayach Eli.
Shkayach Binyomin.